Hello, my name is Ceevan, and today I will be presenting to you about propaganda during World War I. The First World War was the first war in which the mass media played a significant part in disseminating news from the fighting front to the home front. It was also the first war to target systematically produced government propaganda to the general public. During the First World War, the British Army was made up of mainly conscripts. These are people who were enlisted compulsory into the army, which meant that they had little choice about going to war. The British mainly relied on propaganda for recruitment and to justify the war. Some extreme examples of propaganda in Britain was the emotional blackmail of using children to shame their elders into fighting wars. In fact, it was employed by most belligerents. Other tactics used was the display of iconic figures. This was to strengthen a particular point about the national identity in order to promote patriotism. The iconic figures came from either mythological folk or real national heroes. Examples of these iconic figures include John Bull, Britannia, and the British Bulldog. A Serbian forensic scientist who was commissioned by the Serbian Prime Minister used propaganda to create awareness and justify it. He made a list of all the violent and harmful acts in Serbia that were perpetrated by the Austro-Hungarians. There were acts such as looting and pillage, the use of weapons forbidden by the rules and conventions of war, the destruction of ancient libraries and cathedrals, and of homes and villages, as well as rape, mutilation, and torture. In the reports, there were also eyewitness accounts from the victims that made the reports more convincing and believable to the public. The Manifesto of '93, signed by leading German scientists, scholars, and artists, including 14 Nobel Prize winners, refuted the charges of war guilt and proved that German soldiers have acted within the international law. In Germany, they use propaganda to promote the hypocrisy of Great Britain, whose empire has done countless atrocities to countries such as Ireland, India, Egypt, and Africa, and pointed to Germany's own record of scholarly endeavor and social welfare. From the beginning of World War I, governments have used massive resources and huge amounts of effort in using propaganda to create their own international action and opinion. One of the first actions by Britain was to cut Germany's undersea communication cables, which allowed Britain to have the fastest means of transmitting news from Europe to press agencies in the United States of America. Another way the British weaponized propaganda was when they took advantage of Germany's misfortunes or misjudgments during the war. One of the most powerful events of this was the Zimmermann telegram, a German diplomatic communication which was uncovered in 1917 by British intelligence. The telegram had details of plans if the USA joined the Allied side. It had an offer to Mexico regarding territory, including the states of Texas and Arizona, in return for declaring war on the USA. Alongside attempts to influence public opinion in neutral countries, propaganda was also used directly against the enemies. From the start of the war, aeroplanes and balloons were used by all sides to drop leaflets and posters over fighting forces and civilians. For more information, visit these 3 websites. Thank you for watching.